In the last lecture, we studied about Buddha. Now, those teachings, you have to remember the different schools of Buddhism follow those teachings, whether it's Pratitya Samutpad that we studied, or the Dwadash Nidan, or whatever we studied in the last lecture. These all things will remain common. Okay. In this lecture, we are going to focus upon the division, further division. So before studying the further division of the Buddhism, the four schools of Buddhism, I'll tell you a little history. In history classes also you'll study this. Still, I'll give you a brief background and then we'll go to the schools. So once Buddhism took once after the Buddha was gone, all his teachings, as we all know, that he used to teach orally. So the compilation was not there. So the compilation was done by his disciples, and both sangatis happened. And in this sangatis, people talked about what to do, what exactly he said, all those things. And obviously, when like 100 people say some things, even in a class, if I am going to teach today, every one of you will understand in a very different way. So, how can we expect that everyone agreed to what Buddha said and everyone had one vision of what Buddha said? All his teachings were in oral. So, that is the reason there are differences, obviously, and that's what we are going to study. So, first history. So, first council took place just after Mahaparinirvan of Buddha at Rajgriha. The place is Rajgriha. Now you can remember this. Okay, it is the this is the trick of the patrons and the chairmen that are there. I usually tend to forget them, so if you want help, take it. Many times UPSC have asked question in prelims, so it can be helpful to you. So in the first council, the place was Rajgriha, and the Ajat Shatru was the chairman. Mahakassap was the Ajat Shatru was the king, I'm sorry. Mahakassap was the chairman. So this is in the first council, and in this particular council, philosophically, uh, they gave the three pitakas, three baskets that were given in the council. What were the three baskets? So the first basket was the Sutta Pitak. In the Sutta Pitak, basically, they talked about the Buddha's doctrinal teachings, the fundamental teachings. The fundamental teachings of the Buddha were talked about in Sutta Pitak, the basic teachings of the Buddha. What was in the second basket? The second basket was the Vinay Pitak. In this, they were the rules of the monastic principle, disciple, the code of conduct, how you have to live your life, what are the rules and the regulation in the monastery that you have to follow. So they were there in the Vinay Pitak. And this Vinay Pitak, it was written by a Buddhist monk that was named Upali. It can be used in your history or it can be asked in UPSC. So it will talk about the rules and regulations of the Buddhism. The third one is Abhidham Pitak. Abhidham Pitak, it was given by Buddha's successor. Who was Buddha's successor? Mahakasyap. By Mahakasyap, it was given. Again, can be used in history, not important for philosophy. And it is filled with like the poems, songs, stories that talk about the Buddha's past life. Basically, in it, there is also commentaries on these two, on Sut and Vinay. The commentary is there in Abhidham Pitak. It was so in the second council took place at the place Vishali. The trick to remember the king and the chairman is KS. So the king was Kalashok and the chairman was Sabakami. And in this particular council, the metaphysics was taken into consideration. The Abhidham was talked about. So, metaphysics of Buddhism was talked about in this particular council. In the third council is important. Third council happened during the time of Asok. Again, the trick was AM, and it happened during the time of Asok, and the chairman was Mogliput. Now, why this is very important? Because here the Abhitam Pitaka was finalized. It was finalized. In this particular council, the division of Heenyan and Mahayan was about to happen, but didn't happen. Like the clear division did not happen, but there was fights among people. So, and the last council, the fourth council, the happened during the time of Kanishk, and Vasumitra was the chairman. And basically, it happened at Kundalgram in Kashmir. Now, here the division of Heenyan and Mahayan happened. It was a very clear division, and that's what happened in the fourth council. So, this is a brief history. If you can use it somewhere, use it. Otherwise, not. You don't have. You will not get any question directly from this particular thing. I just wanted to bring you to the Heenyan and Mahayan topic. That is the reason I took this long. Now, Heenyan and Mahayan. I'm really sorry for my writing. I'll just try to write in a better manner. Okay. So, talking about the Heen, Yan, and Mahayan. UPSC have asked this question like what they believed in. Very simple question they have asked. So, the way to remember that is Yan. You can remember Yan as the aeroplane. Okay, if it looks like an aeroplane. So, so the Heen Yan have like the smaller Yan. Their Yan is small. Their aeroplane is small, and Mahayan have the bigger Yan. The aeroplane is bigger. So, what Mahayanis are going to do? They are going to take like more people with them. When they're going to get Nirvana, they're going to take more people with them. And Heenyar, they are called Heen. Heen in Hindi is uh, lower lower level. So they are like we want to become Buddha, so we'll get our own nirvana. And in Mahayan they are basically like no, once we get liberation we are not going to go anywhere. Liberation is not the end. We are going to make everyone else liberated, and then we are going to leave this world. So that's the basic difference. UPSC has asked questions only till here, not much out of it. Now, coming to philosophy. So, the lesser vehicle, talking about the lesser vehicle. And in the third council, another group was created. It was Sarvastivad. Sarv means all, Asti means existence, and Vad. Vad means theory. So this came Sarvastivad. Everything, all existence theory, everything is existence, whether it's physical, it's mental, everything exists. This is also known as Vaibhasik school. This is the first school that we are going to study. Vaibhasik, realism. If in case you have studied more, so it's like more only gross realism. They focus on gross realism. Whatever we see outside, that is true. Realism and idealism, I'll tell you very quickly. So in realism, whatever we see outside, if I see a pen or AC or whatever, bottle, garden, whatever, so all these are true only. The outside things, the focus is on outside. In idealists focus on themselves. They are like we see, so it's true. We see it. I am the one who sees everything outside, and that is the reason it's true. So that's the difference between realist and idealist. So Vibhasics are the realist. After that, So Tantric school came. They are idealist. That's the second school of Heenyan. Two schools are there. One is Vibhashik, other is So Tantric. In So Tantric, they talk about idealism also. So Heenyan, Sarvastivad, they explain everything in a positive manner, and and Vibhashik also means language. Vibhasik also means language. So they believe that we should, everything was in Pali. Buddha, after Buddha, most of the sermons are in Pali. He gave his sermons in Pali, but at that time, many other languages were also there. Sanskrit was also there. So they made their things, made whatever they wanted to tell available in Sanskrit and in other local languages. Then the So Tantric school came, so that we know. Now, if I'm going to do the division here only, in Mahayan also, if I'll just do Mahayan's division also. In the Mahayan division, another two schools are there. Four schools will be studying. There are four schools of Buddhism, and the Mahayan schools are known as Shunyavad. The question have been asked on all the schools. Okay, so make sure that you listen to the complete lecture. So the Mahayan schools, we have Shunyavad or Madhyamik school. In the last lecture, we studied about Patitya Samutpad. That has been asked with this Madhyamik school. Explain this Madhyamik school and connect Patitya Samutpad with it. We are going to do all the UPSC previous year questions as well. So for now, keep studying. So Pratitya Samutpad, I told you in the last lecture, the cause and the effect relationship, the causal relation that is there. And the Madhyamik school was asked. Then from this came the Vajrayan. Vajrayan is basically, there was an effect of Brahmanism in it. The people who were against Brahmanism made this school. There was black magic and all in this particular school. It's still prevalent in many parts of the country. Then another is Yogachar school, and Yogachar gave Vigyanvad. So these are the three schools that are there. Um, in this we are going to study about Shunyavad and Vigyanvad, and we are not going to study. Shunyavad is like Kant's. If you have studied Western philosophy, then Shunyavad is like the Kant's philosophy. Vigyanvad, Kant's philosophy, that is relatively unreal kind of philosophy. We'll study this. Yogachar school is like the Berkeley's philosophy, pure idealism that Berkeley focused on, pure idealism. So Yogachar is about this. See, both the schools there are like the two things. One is idealism, other is realism. In this also, realism, idealism, realism in Shunyavad, idealism in Vigyanvad. So these are the differences in the Heenyan and the Mahayan. And the Heenyan basically considered Buddha as a normal person and who tried to attain liberation. Heenyan basically considered Buddha as a normal person, normal human being who tried to attain the liberation. Mahayan considers him God. Amitabh has been the name that has been given to Buddha. And here they say that the personal effects are very much necessary Personal efforts. You must do really personal efforts. If you want to get liberation, the personal efforts are very much important. Here, since Buddha is God, so by the grace of the God, you can achieve nirvana. So they are conventionalist. This is not practiced now in many parts of the world. So they are conventionalist, but it is said that it is not corrupted. It is less corrupted compared to Mahayan, but Mahayan is progressive, and the Mahayan theory is the one because of which we have even the statues of the Buddha at our homes, or the photos of the Buddha. It's because of the Mahayan school, because that's what Mahayanis believed in. And the Bodhisattva, the concept of Bodhisattva came from the fact that after liberation, also Buddha went to many places, in order to uplift people. So they also say that that was the true goal. That's how the god functions, and we all must try to liberate people. The idea is to liberate people, and you guys just want your personal happiness, and you don't want to liberate other people, so you are heen and we are mahan. That's what the two Heenyan and Mahayan schools. Now let's talk about the first school of uh, Buddhism in under Heenyan. Heenyan, we talked about two schools, Vibhashik and Sotantric, and so we'll start with Vibhashik. Vibhashik, as I said, the word bhasha is there in it. Bhasha means they focused upon, they tried to convert their teachings into local dialect in the local language. And in the Western philosophy, it is much like more. Now, talking about the Vibhasic school, the source of the knowledge that is available with us for the Vaibhasik school is Abhidham course. You might see while you're going to study Buddhism, you are going to come with this dhamma. The word dhamma is going to come many times, because in Pali, the Pali language in which the Buddha sermons were there, R is not pronounced. R is not there. So that's why it's Abhidham course. Okay. Now, they were what? We talked about it. They were realist. Realist means objects exist independently, and their knowledge is possible through what? How you're going to have the knowledge of an object. If I have a bottle, um, if there is a bottle, and so if it's a pink bottle, okay, so how I'm going to have a knowledge of it? I'm going to see the pink color. I'm going to see the pink color. That is the reason I have the knowledge of it. So I'm going to touch it, so it's solid. So uh, for example, there is music, I can hear it, so the direct perception is there. Simple sense perception. Perception means you are using the senses. Don't complicate things. Philosophy is not that difficult. It's just try to make it simple. So perception is the sense perception that is there. So that is perception. And the second thing is anuman. Anuman is what? Anuman, as you do it in Hindi only, you think about it. You relate the things, relating the things in mind. That is anuman. So that's how you can get pramana. You can get the knowledge by perception and by anuman. Two things are there. Perception means I see directly. Either I'll see directly, for example, Eiffel Tower. Either I'll see directly, or I'll have an anuman of it. I'll explain you in detail. So we have six sense organs. Now we see, we listen, we touch, we smell, we taste, we hear things. Okay, so we have sense organs, because of which we are going to get the pramana. Which kind of pramana? Pratyaksh pramana. Pratyaksh means pratyaksh. Pratyaksh in Hindi means as it is, the thing that is there in front of me. So the pratyaksh praman, so either it can be pratyaksh or it can be anuman. I'm going to find out by thinking that what is there. Now the pratyaksh praman can be of two types. It is nirvikalp or it is cervical, and another is yogi pratyaksh. So first let me talk about the nirvikalp. Nirvikalp is, for example, if I see a rose, a red rose, how can I know? If I, for example, a child sees a rose, a child sees a red rose, and he doesn't know the name, he doesn't know what it is, so he's going to see a red color, he's going to see some thorns, he's going to smell it. So that's how a child is going to see it, the red rose. So this is nirvikalp. The child doesn't know exactly. Kalp means body. The child doesn't know exactly that what it is. So nirvikalp. Then cervikalp is, when the child connects it with the previous knowledge he has. Now his mother tells him that it's a rose, so the next time he sees the rose, he's going to use the previous knowledge, and with this previous knowledge he's going to tell that yes mom, it's a rose. So that's a cervical. Now the body is known with body, without body, with body. Now the you know about the body, so that is, it is cervical. Before it was nirvical. And another thing which I said is yogi pratyaksh. Yogi pratyaksh means you're going to get the superpower when you become yogi. Yogi pratyaksh. Yogi pratyaksh means when you attain nirvana, when you get to reach that stage where you can attain nirvana, then you get this yogi pratyaksh. Okay. So in yogi pratyaksh, your senses are going to work in a very better manner. You're going to see more things. You're going to think about more things. There will be a telepathy. You're going to have these superpowers. These superpowers are possible once are going to attain nirvana. That is yogi pratyaksh, super senses. So we talked about pratyaksh. Now next is the anuman, which we talked about. Now the pratyaksh is important for the anuman. I must have seen a rose in order to have an anuman about it. That's what they believe in. So the previous knowledge of the rose is important in order to do an anuman about it. So the base will always be pratyaksh. For anuman also the base is pratyaksh. In order to get an anuman, the base is pratyaksh. So these are the two sources of knowledge, whether you can see things directly or you can have an anuman about it. That's how you're going to get clear and authentic knowledge according to the Vibhashik school. Next thing about in Vibhashik is, in the previous lecture when we talked about the Pratitya Samutpad, I left one concept of Nam Roop. I did not tell it properly, because in this lecture we are going to study it properly. So Nam and Roop. Now this concept is very important. Now this word has been taken from Upanishad. Shankar used this word, but he said that This Nam Roop is from Maya. Because of Maya, this is there. And in they this Vibhashik school said that the Nam Roop is something different. Nam Roop, we are going to tell what is. I'll tell you what it is. So Nam and Roop. Roop, Roop, as you know, Roop is the body. Nam is related to consciousness. If you remember, this step came before the embryo was born. This is before embryo was born. Embryo was there in the stage of Vigyan when the first consciousness came. This is before the first consciousness. So this is the soul. This is before the first consciousness. The Bhashik school said that everything in this world, everything is made up of this Nam Roop. This Nam Roop has like the five elements. Nam Roop or the soul, it has five groups. Now the Nam and the Roop. In the Roop is what? It is matter. And what it consists is consists of the earth, water, air, and fire. Earth, water, air, and fire. The physical things who have the potential. They have the potential to become something. So the potentiality is there in the Roop. And then comes Nam. In the Nam, we have which are related to consciousness. In Nam we have Sangya. Again, we have studied this in Pratitya Samutpad, if you remember. Sangya is the name. Vedana, something again we have studied in Pratitya Samutpad. Vedana are the feelings, feelings of pleasure, feelings of being happy, feelings of being sad that has arisen in human because they have taken the birth, the Dwadash Nidan that we studied because of the Trishna. Then from first there was Jati. Now let me tell it very quickly. First there was Jara Maran. Jara Maran means the old age and the death. Are they are certain after birth? Then after Jara Maran there is again J. There is Jati. The birth happened. Then Bhav, Upadan. Then Trishna. Then after Trishna we have Vedna. Upadan, Trishna. Let me tell you very quickly. In Jara Maran means the old age and the death, they are certain after birth. Then after Jara Maran came Jati. Jati is the birth, taking birth is Jati. Then the Bhav came. Bhav is to enjoy the material object. Why you have taken the birth? In order to enjoy this material world. That is the reason. Then Upadan came. Upadan is the basic desire to enjoy. Bhav is to enjoy the material object, the desire of taking birth. So this is Bhav is this desire of taking what Jati. So the desire of this is Bhav now, and the desire to enjoy the world is Upadan. Then after that, there will be, once you have the desire, there will be Trishna. So due to the happy feelings, you'll have Trishna. And then Vedana came. Vedana is once you're connected with the senses, because of the connection of the senses, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad. So the happiness and the sadness and the cause of it, why the happiness and the sadness happened, it was because of the sparsh. And the sparsh happened because of the six senses, Shadiyatan. And then it was Namrup, and then it was the Vigyan when you are in the embryo stage. After that, it was Sanskar, the past experiences, the past lives that you have brought yourself with, and at last it was Avidya, the cause of everything, the main cause that was there. So that was the Pratitya Samutpat in a very quickly. If you want to know in detail, please see the previous lecture. Again, the Vedna, happy feelings. Third is Sanskar, which we just said, predispositions or the previous lives, the active stage of the previous life, the things that you have brought yourself from the previous life, that is Sanskar. And the last is Vigyan. Vigyan, again, we have studied Vigyan, the main consciousness in the embryo. So, this is the Nam Roop. So, they believed in this Nam Roop theory. Um, Vibhasik school believed in this Nam Roop theory. They said that everything is made up of these things. These he said, these are the five skandhas. How we are going to get the nirvana. So there are two ways in which Vibhasik says that we can get the nirvana. What are those two ways? The first way is by the pragya, by the true knowledge. So when your mind is going to reach the sato guna, when your mind is going to reach at a certain stage where you are going to, in Pratitya Samutpad, we saw the main cause of all the causal cycle, the complete cycle, the main cause of the cycle, the reason you're not getting nirvana, the reason you're going through the cycle of birth and death is because of the avidya, right? So if you're going to get the pragya, you're going to get rid of this avidya. Once you're going to get rid of this avidya, you're going to get the nirvana. Your bhav will be over. What is bhav? Bhav was you have taken the birth. Why you took the birth? Because you had the desire to take the birth. So the bhav will be gone, the desire will be gone, and for that the pragya must be really strong. Once you have the strong pragya, automatically you're going to get the nirvana. This type of nirvana, this particular kind of the nirvana where you are going to get the true knowledge. So it's a kind nirvana. What is nirvana? Nirvana is a kind of the extinction. So when the extinction is happening because of the knowledge, you have destroyed all your trishna. You have got the true knowledge. It's a negative kind of extinction, and this is known as Prati Sankhya Nirodh. They called it as Prati Sankhya Nirodh because of the knowledge you get it. Okay, and or tapasya, you are getting this Prati Sankhya Nirodh. Next is the opposite of this, the opposite of Prati Sankhya Nirodh, the another kind of the extinction that they talked about how you can get the another way in which you can get nirvana is by uh, living your life, by going through the cycle of cause and effect, repeating this cycle of cause and effect till you're left with no cause, till there is the absence of the productive cause. So the productive cause is absent, then you can get nirvana. This is called aprati sankhya nirodh. Aprati sankhya nirodh. You just put a in it. So that is, this is the second kind of nirvana. So the productive cause will be absent. What is it? What does it mean? For example, for 10 lifetimes someone is amphibian, he's supposed to be amphibian. 20 lifetimes someone is supposed to be reptile, then 27 lifetimes someone is supposed to be human, and so on. So they live through this chain of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, till they get nirvana. Automatically, every karma they're going to, bear all the fruits. They're going to eat all of their fruits, and finally, they are going to get the nirvana. They're going to through this cycle of cause and effect, and then they are going to get the nirvana. There will be the absence of the productive cause. So this is one kind of nirvana. Now, the concept of space. Now, in this kind of nirvana, where there is no cause, it is just like space. For example, this blank screen, I am putting these lines so I can define space. So this blank screen, it's space. It has no defilement. It gives the ground to other matter to stand upon. It is going to give the ground to other matter to stand upon, but in itself it has no defilement. So space is also kind of aprati sankhya nirodh. Aprati sankhya nirodh is that dharma. The word dharma stands for particles, pramanu, small particles. So it is kind of aprati sankhya nirodh dharma. So so the cause, there was the main cause. So the nirvana by the is space. Space is aprati sankhya nirodh. Space itself is aprati sankhya nirodh. It's a kind of nirvana. So that they said that it is aprati sankhya nirodh. The space is kind of aprati sankhya nirodh. It has no, if it has no matter, it has no cause, then it is aprati sankhya nirodh. Matter, they said that the matter can be like two kind. One is pramanu, and then it's anu is like an atom, and pramanu is like the smaller than atom. These smaller atoms, they are going to combine together. Sangya will happen, and they're going to combine together, and the atom will be formed. Then the matter will be formed. From this, the matter will be formed. Okay. So but in apratisankhya, that is in space, there is, all these things are not present. What is pratisankhya nirodh? The This pramanu is dharma. They use the word dharma for this pramanu. Okay, this is apratisankhya nirodh. In this pramanu and anu, the pramanu and anu, we have to understand that they can be either single means they are pure. That means, they said, the word they use is Sanskrit, not the language Sanskrit. The word they use is Sanskrit. So the things can be either the dharmas, these dharmas, pramanu or the dharma, they can be Sanskrit, they are pure, or they can be a Sanskrit. They are made up of different kind of things. Like rocks are made up of different kind of minerals. In geography, we have studied rocks are made up of different kind of minerals, so they are a Sanskrit. If there is a pure rock, for example, some pure igneous rock, then that will be Sanskrit. So this is, Sanskrit is like the pure dharma is present. Dharma is what? The particle, the pramanu, and here the composite dharma is present. Now we have to understand that Vibhashik school, Shankara called them Sarvastivad. Sarvastivad means they believed that everything that we are seeing outside, as we discussed before, they believe in realism. So everything that we are seeing outside is true. But remember, they believe that it is true, but it is momentary. True, but momentary. The only two things that are not momentary, the theory for this is momentariness of the reality. Everything is there, that is pertaining to destruction. It can be destroyed at any time. Only two things are there that cannot be destroyed, and that we discussed. They are the space and nirvana. These are the two things which are nitya. Rest everything dharma is anitya. the Pramanu, Anu, the breakage, they are all Anit. And this Shanikvad, they believed in Shanikvad. They have been called Sarvastivad by Shankara, that they believe that everything outside is true, or outside means Bahye, Pratyaksh, we talked. They believe in the theory of the realism. We talked about the example of the bottle, that I'm seeing the bottle, so it's true. So I'm using my senses. So they believe in the theory of the Bahya Pratyakshvad. The next school that we're going to study, Sotantrik, it believed in Anumaya Pratyakshvad. So by the Anuman, they're going to find out that it is true. They also believe in Shanikvad also. The explanation is different. That we'll study in the next lecture. So for this, for Vibhashik and Sotantrik, both these schools, they are the schools of Heenyan, so they'll share many similarities, and there will be some differences in the theory that we'll study in the next lecture. We'll continue with Sotantrik, and probably we'll cover the other two schools of Mahayan also. Till then, thank you.